Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. This is GenchoMoto and in today's video I'm going to show you a really nice Renault. Not you, I wasn't talking about you, you're gonna go into the next episode. No. I'm talking about my new daily, which is the mighty Renault Megane 225.
This is the best that we can get.
As we're done now with the intro, let's talk a little bit more about this baby and then we're gonna go for a test drive. So this is a Renault Megane RS225, starts in 2004 and phase 1 ends up in 2005, which is a very short time. Right, we are not going to talk about the normal Meganes because they have nothing to do with this one. This is a very special version. It's the 2-litre turbo, 225 brake horsepower. The good thing about this is only one engine and it's only one gearbox at 6-speed manual. You don't get automatic, so you really get the joy of driving a newer hot hatch in its full potential. So far so good. In 2006 it comes up phase 2, which is the R26 Renault Megane. We're going to talk about the difference and the new things that are added to the R26 in a little while. Let me just walk you around the car and we're gonna go from there afterwards. Coming up to the front of the car, we've got a super nice front bumper, super wide, and we've got quite nice fog lights on the bottom. If you slap a lip on them, they become super aggressive. Nice front end with them headlights, with them grills. I really like how it's done. Then sliding down to the side of the car, we've got nice big arches. I have to mention this is plastic, so it doesn't rust, which is a good thing, and it's lightweight, which is even a better thing. Then for wheels, we have standard 18-inch wheels. These are the R25, and in the R26 we've got multi-spoke black ones, which are again very nice, and they're also super light. Stock, it comes up with Brembo calipers, so the brake system of this car is really good. One thing I have to mention straight away is because usually their brake pads are high performance, which means they're stiffer and harder. They're made to last into high intense driving, so they wear out the brake discs a lot more quicker. Brake discs are massive, they look really well on the car. The only issue and downside is that when it comes to changing them, they're a bit dear, especially the drill ones. So sliding across, got quite nice indicator, quite nice trim. It says Renault Sport, just to remind you that it's a very fast car. We've got quite nice rear sticker and no holes for the keys, which is great. The key hole is only one and it's on here. Moving down to the back, we have a nice little window at the back and a big back end. That's why the car's nickname is the Big Booty. And then we've got a big rear bumper with 2 exhausts at the back. They sound amazing even with stock. With a Miltech system or any other performance system, the car sounds brutal. The best thing about it is you don't need a remap to do pops and bangs. You can get your pops and bangs simply enough by putting a performance exhaust system. That sounds brutal. It is costly. You're looking to pay second-hand maybe around 250 to 400-500 pounds for a second-hand one. Obviously the newer ones are even more expensive, or you can just go for replacing a performance back box and central box. That also gives the car a very nice sound. And we've got quite nice tail lights. I have to mention about the tail lights and in general about the electrics of the car. They're crap. They are completely crap. So when you're looking at one of them, make sure you give a good check on the electrics. With this one personally, when I first got it, that tail light was not working. I've tried to look fuses, everything else. I couldn't find the issue, so I end up wiring from this headlights cables down to this one, so that's problem solved. And if you've seen our previous video for this Megane, window regulators, that's another common fault for them. So window regulators are failing. I've explained it already deeply into our previous video. As you can see, I had the issue on the driver's side door, now I've got it on this side door. Basically this gets twisted jams and then the window comes off. I have started doing this, but unfortunately the weather is absolutely horrible, so I'm taking it slowly. Whenever the time is good, then I'm gonna fix it. Then crossing down, full leather interior, which I'm going to show you in a second, which is super nice. And let's talk about phase 2. So phase 2 comes out in 2006. This is the facelift of the Renault Megane 225 RS. They also share the same engine, with the difference between the R25 and the R26 is the fact that R26 Cup is producing 5 horsepower more, and it's got limited slip differential, which leads me to another thing. These bad boys are front wheel drive. They're insanely fast for what they are. In 2005 they're like jet fighters. For nowadays, 220 horsepower may not seem like a lot, but the joy between driving a 2006 hot hatch and 2020 hot hatch is much more different, simply because the 2020 hot hatch is filled up with electronics, so it's not like you're really getting the full pleasure of driving the car. You don't really fully control the car. Then coming down to the front end, they do have a bit of a difference. So the headlights are halo lights with xenon. Them two little grills are slightly different, and then the bumper is different as well. So the fog lights are now inside of the grille instead of, as on this one, outside of the grille. And then difference in the back is very little. In the back we've got them two tail lights. The tail lights are slightly different, so they're a bit more sharper in here, but that's about it for it. And then the Cup gets a proper Recaro bucket seats. The normal trophy ones, like this one, they get a full leather sports seats with a quite nice badge here that says Renault Sports, and they've got really nice stitching as well. If you are looking to drive the car every day like I do, these are a lot more comfortable, so I would suggest these ones. But on the end of the day, if you've got the Cup one, you're not really gonna swap your Recaro racing seats for this one, so that's the choice. And another good thing is that the RS225 comes with 2 doors and 4 doors. The 2-door ones is for the younger generation, so yes, it does look a lot more prettier, especially if you find one in liquid yellow. But then the 4-door Megane is perfect for people with kids, so you boys and girls that have got kids already, don't be upset, you've got a 4-door version as well, which is super nice. And another new thing that comes up in 2006 is the fact that apart the 225 and the 230 brake horsepower 2-litre turbo, we get a diesel engine, which is again 2-litre but produces 173 brake horsepower, and with a decent remap it will get the car to somewhere around 220 horsepower, which is as much as the petrol one. It is a lot more economical, the torque is also decent, but then you cannot really compare it with a 2-litre petrol. But again, this is simply my opinion, you get to choose. The diesel ones are a little bit cheaper than the petrol ones. The petrol ones are now going up in value. Last year were going down, now they become a lot more rarer, so they're going up instead. You can find a decent example between 2,000 and 3,000 pounds depending on the mileage. If you're looking at one with about 80 to 100k, you're looking to pay around 3 grand if it has full service history. These cars you need to check really well. The turbo on them is really solid, so they don't tend to create issues, but again, the car needs to be maintained properly, so I definitely suggest one with full service history. As we went around the whole car, I'll just quickly show you how the engine bay looks like. Oop, it's on the other side, man. So when you open the engine bay, it doesn't look like nothing special because it's mainly covers. So everything is covered. In order to get to stuff, you need to remove them. The good thing is these are on clips which are coming off very easy, and this is your mighty 2-litre turbo engine, which again is really reliable. Another thing to point out is that the engine mounts are not that great on them Renaults. If they start to fail, I would suggest just simply swapping for a Powerflex ones. They're poly bushes and they're a little bit more expensive, but they last a lot more longer. Things that you want to check, of course, is your fluids, and lift that cover up and inspect that little pipe here. That little pipe here, because of the heat, usually deteriorates, splits, and then the engine starts to run really roughly, and sometimes it starts to even smoke. But that's about it for the engine bay. Let's hop inside the car, show you around, and then we're gonna go for a test drive. So inside with them sport seats, it's very comfy. And another cool detail about them is the stitching that's on the seat is the same on your armrest in the central console and on the steering wheel as well. The wheel is a bit big for the car, but in the same time it has a really nice feeling when you touch it. The Speedo has a really nice design. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. And on the central column here, the features of the car of course are very easy accessible. This one only has aircon, but for the ones that have a climate control, usually they have a little digital display here. Then it comes up stock with a very crap sound system, crap sound media, and then usually you either get a little pocket here or the CD changer. This one had just a gap here. I don't really listen to music, especially when I'm driving this car, but I slapped this little media here just because it looked ugly with the gap. Then obviously unlocking, locking, start button. These cars have no keys. This is your key, which is basically a card. The good thing about it is the car has a keyless entry and the keyless starts straight from the factory. So I can pretty much keep my key inside of my pocket, press start, and the car's gonna start. But and there is a little slot here. Down here is your OBD port. When you're removing that trim, be careful. They, with time, obviously they crack and they break, so after that you cannot really attach it properly. That's another downside. The gears are very short, quite nice feeling when you're shifting gears. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more when we go into the driving part. Another downside to this interior, another thing that I don't like into this interior, all of them trims on the center and on the doors have the plastic finish. They scratch very easy, and you rarely find one that's immaculate. So you will rarely find one that's in immaculate condition. You do get the occasional ones that have a gloss paint finish. If you do end up getting one of them, then obviously you're lucky. If you end up getting one like me with the plastic finish, all you have to do is take two bolts here and here and then remove it, sand it down, finish it off in a gloss finish, as what I'm planning to do, and job done. You will never have to worry again. Then on the side of the doors, again same issue, plastic finish, and for the buttons is exactly the same thing. So that is a little downside. We've got a quite a good size glove box for what it is. You can store quite a lot of things. And in the central armrest we have a little pocket which is big enough for toilet roll. This is for the times when you want to make your friends shit themselves with your driving skills. Let's leave it here. And a weird handbrake. Again, in the beginning of the video I said about jet fighters. We've got a bit of jet fighter details here. This is your handbrake. It tends to fall apart with times. This one is working perfect, but it is a bit of an awkward one, so I prefer to use this one than the normal ones. But that's about it. Also on the side of the doors we have a little pockets as well on both doors in the cars. They're big enough to fit a mobile phone wallet or something like that. Just don't forget it, we've got electric windows and mirrors as standard. As I'm talking about them, these Meganes are coming with automatic wipers and headlights. The sensor of them is located right in the central mirror, and it tends to fail. Once it fails, you get some lights on the dashboard. So one of the lights is the check engine light and the other one is the service light, and you also get notified into the little display which is located right into the center of the cluster. That's about it with the front. So let's hop at the back, see how it feels, and then go for a drive. The back, let me check something. Shit. Can you open?
Where?
Lock myself.
Again?
Yeah. Child control. Coming down to the back. The back is quite spacious, and because the roof is sort of flat, you've got quite a bit of headroom as well. You have ISOFIX attachments for the baby seat, hence why I said the car is perfect for a family car if you're not that worried about fuel consumption, which is another terrible thing on this car. Again, really nice stitches. It feels like quality inside. The stitches are also on the door. The stitches are also on the door cards, which are perforated same as the seats. We've got two pockets, which I always say they shouldn't be used. No cup holders or whatsoever, but we've got a armrest. Fuck, cup holders. I've never noticed it. The good thing is we have quite a big armrest, which if you lift up, you got two cup holders, which are not really comfy to use. And we've got pen attachments. I would say it is perfect just to have your arm resting on here if you're having 4 people in total in the car. It can easily fit 5 people. One downside is headrests are not that comfy if they're fully down, but if you lift them up, then it becomes a lot more better. But then the viewing from your rear window is not gonna be that great because the window is little. Anyways, another good feature is them red seat belts. I absolutely love them. They come up standard with the car. And with all that being said about the back, it does feel quality. Again, it's nothing special, but it doesn't feel cheap either. Let me show you the boot, because you're gonna be quite surprised how big boot that car has. Child control. Sensor on the rear boot is another thing that fails every now and then. They're only cheap on eBay. I think they vary between 10 and 15 pounds, so that's easy to be replaced as well. And then we have a quite big and spacious boot. I have taken off the boot shelf so I can just simply show you how big it is. It is massive, so if I move that bag, I can easily fit inside. It's not too comfy, but I can fit inside. Underneath we have another little pocket, and if we lift that, we get our full-size spare tire, which is nice to have, and all the attachments for you to be able to replace your tire anywhere on the road. Nice little spoiler, which I forgot to mention. On eBay there's them Chinese rubber lips. If you attach this one to this little spoiler here, and if you cut it correctly, and it actually looks quite nice. With all that being said, let's take the car for a little drive and see how it performs. So first impressions being inside of the car, they're not first impressions. So I've already had my first impressions, so just let you know how it actually feels. So I'm gonna start with something very random, which is the heating. The heating of the car is absolutely brutal. It is exactly like a sauna inside in winter times, and that literally covers it for the heating. In general, the gears are going really nice. The car has torque literally in every single gear. The steering wheel is heavy. It feels nice because then you know where your wheels are at all times. The suspension is stiff, so it doesn't ride as comfy. On the other hand, what also makes a difference is the tires. The tires are low profile tires. They come in as a standard, so again, do not expect a super comfortable drive. On the other day, this is a hot hatch. It's not made to drive comfortably. Well, not as comfortably as for example a 5 Series BM or an E-Class Mercedes. If the sound is very bad, I apologize. As I already said, our window regulator onto the passenger side is broken, so the window literally just came off. I thought I had it tight, but I haven't. So we're on second gear now, and I'm gonna do a push. It's super fast. On white paper, the car does 0 to 60 for 6.5 seconds. This is third gear. I'll smash it a little bit, and you go pull. Then fourth gear, you smash it, you go pull. You can easily drive this car around town on third and fourth gear. It's mega responsive, and I would say it's the perfect track weapon. So we have a quite nice straight where we can actually test the car properly. A massive joy to drive. One downside of the car is insurance and road tax. Insurance and road tax are both really expensive. I think the car falls down somewhere in group 17 of the insurance. I'm not really aware about how these groups are working, but all I can tell you is the road tax is about £26 a month, and depending on your age, no claim bonus is extra. Insurance will vary a lot. For example, on my previous car, which was the Chrysler 300C, it's a 3-litre diesel, and I used to pay £36 a month. For this one, I'm paying £76 a month, which is a bit dear, but then it definitely worth it. It's a perfect track toy. I can't really wait for summer to come in so we can do some track days. Now we're gonna go into a bit of cornering. literally any gear you go onto, it pulls and pulls. It doesn't want to stop, and it's so responsive that it's actually scary. Also, another thing to mention is the difference between the RS225 and the Cup 225 is the fact that the Cup 225 allows you to have the traction control off at all times, where with the normal RS225 trophy like my one, if you turn off the traction control, it will automatically go on again as soon as you reach 30 miles an hour. So that's about it for today, guys. I personally think this is one of the best hot hatches that you can get for its price. We're probably gonna come up with more videos in future about this car. The rivals for these cars are Vauxhall VXR and VW GTI. This model particularly is cheaper than the VXR and the GTI, so you make up your mind. I reckon between £2,000 and £3,000 you cannot get a better hot hatch than this one, especially if you want to use it for a track toy. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button, put a comment below, share and subscribe, because that's how you help us grow.